Welcome back, everyone. Well, it goes without saying, but few counties have the name recognition and the brand that Saratoga County has, one of the fastest growing counties in New York State and actually in the country. Growth has to be managed, and bringing new industries in has to be managed. And joining me today is the head of the Saratoga County Prosperity Partnership. Maybe an acronym, maybe economic development is what we need to say here, or as you call it, the partnership, right? It's Marty, hooked on Vanags. So welcome.
Thanks.
Really nice to have you here.
Yes.
There's so much we could talk about. Let's kind of cut to the sort of the overview.
Right.
The partnership is a fairly new venture.
Right.
It started in like 2014.
Right. And I came in 2015. It was created by the County Board of Supervisors to take on a more proactive and aggressive approach to economic development.
Mm-hmm. Which really needed to happen because with the different sectors, you could take technology, you could take any number of the different sectors that really want to come into Saratoga.
Right.
You know, how is that, as I said in the beginning, how is that going to be managed?
Yeah.
So
in our new strategic plan, we have two areas where we're looking at aggressive approach towards attraction. One, what we call objective one, which is looking at the sectors that we want to approach and recruit companies to this area. So we're going to find out who those companies are that best fit the economic criteria for the Saratoga County area. So it might be advanced manufacturing, agriculture, research and development, back office, financial processing, kind of like you see State Farm out at exit 15.
Right.
And then also warehouse and distribution. So those are the sectors. Of course, we have this great investment by Global Foundries, $15 billion, could still be the largest private investment in any community in the past 5 years. And we want to take a look at what other companies ought to be in Luther Forest Technology Campus and a lot of private owned properties around it.
Sure, because it's not only the basics of that technology category, but it's the feeder companies as well.
Right, yes. So there's a lot of suppliers that need to be looking at Global Foundries and looking at a situation where we're the center of a growing Eastern Seaboard microelectronics industry. So you've got Burlington to the north, where Global Foundries bought the IBM property. Same with Fishkill. You got the new AMS chip plant out in Utica. We're kind of in the center of it all. And so we have to be aggressive. We have to be assertive. We have to go out and make sure that we are calling on companies, because economic development, like anything else, is a sales process. And it's a long sales process. And so every day you're not doing something, you're about a week behind. And so we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Well, you know, Marty, you recently unveiled the strategic plan.
Right.
Those don't come easily. You know, a lot of listening involved, right?
Yes.
And understanding.
So when I got here in May, instead of saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, I've got a lot of experience in economic development, but really I had to listen to a lot of people. Look at the TIP strategy report that the county commissioners had commissioned, which had a lot of information in it. Talk to County Board of Supervisor members, talk to the private sector, talk to businesses that were already here and growing, understand a lot what they needed and what they wanted and what kind of things they wanted to do. And then going out to the outside world, listen to and talk to the semiconductor industry. I've been to Semicon West, I've been out to San Jose and Portland to talk to semiconductor companies, suppliers, and others to say, what's going on? What do you need? What prevents you from doing more investment in the area? How do we get you to Saratoga County? So a lot of listening before we launch this plan this week.
Let's touch on the plan.
Okay.
You had mentioned to me before we went on air that there are really 4 key areas that you're focusing on based on what you've learned.
Right. So we talked about attraction, those 5 sectors, going out, attracting new companies to the area. You got to keep getting new blood to the area, bringing more dollars to create jobs and capital investment. The second one is business retention. We have a lot of businesses here, very successful. We need to know what their needs are, what their obstacles are to greater success. If we know what those are, we can help them in our toolbox of tools that we have. And it gives us the right then, if we know what our local businesses are, to ask others to join the community of businesses in our county. The third is, again, leveraging the investment by Global Foundries and Luther Forest Technology Campus. And the fourth is something what I call collaboration and team sport. Working with local government at the local, state, and federal level is so critical, because economic development can't be done alone. It can't be done just with us. It's got to be a collaborative effort, a team sport, and building that trust and relationships is critical.
I want to cycle back on this on the second point, the retention one.
Business retention.
You know, as a business owner myself, when you go out and you talk to businesses, do you find common issues? Do you find concerns, common concerns?
Yeah, very, very often. I've done a lot of business retention calls in my professional career, and what happens is you go out and talk to business A, and they've got some issues and concerns, and by themselves, they might be something that you might be able to help them with. But then if you go, let's say, 10 other businesses, and all of a sudden you start hearing and listening, you see, okay, wait a minute, that's the same concern or issue that the last guy had and the other business had, and pretty soon you have a macro approach to solving a problem. Instead of just solving one person's immediate issue, you can look at it and say, should we rally the troops and propose new legislation? Should we talk to the regulators and talk about how they're hindering growth in this industry? Should we find a workforce training program to help this industry? So it's key to get out and meet as many businesses as possible, understand what their issues are, understand what obstacles they face to greater growth, and then try to solve those problems. Sometimes you can do it with great success, and there'll be times where you can't, but you really, really can move the ball forward by identifying those issues.
That's very,
and listening. Listening
well, sure.
is key to this process. If you don't listen, you'll get nothing done.
Well, you know, that's a very comprehensive approach, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, businesses a lot of times think they're islands unto themselves. They may not know that other businesses share those concerns. You know, and in economic development, you do see sometimes where it's all about bringing new businesses in without enough attention being paid to the retention of the businesses that have already made the commitment, the established and the investment. You can learn a lot from that.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, when you think about it, you know, they always say in business, it's easier to keep the customers you have than to get new customers, and it's a lot more cost effective. I think it's the same as true in economic development. It's sometimes easier to help 20 companies get 10 new jobs each or create 10 new jobs each than it is to get the big company with 200 jobs to come here. Sometimes those companies that are moving around or growing, they're, as soon as the conditions change, they're on to the next community.
Right.
But those 20, you know, those 10 companies with 20 jobs each, or 20 companies with 10 jobs each, I'm not sure how I said it, but so those 200 local jobs that are here, they're deeply rooted in the community. They're unlikely to leave, and we really need to pay attention to that. I think that's a critical part of economic development.
Well, you've covered a lot since May 2015, by the way, Marty.
And we hope to cover a lot more. We got a very aggressive
tell me about
agenda.
that.
Yeah.
On the horizon.
Yeah, so on the horizon, first quarter next year, we hope to launch a very collaborative economic development, business retention, and expansion program. You'll see me, you'll see folks from the Saratoga Chamber and the Southern Saratoga Chamber and other groups out visiting with companies. We'll get back together, we'll collaborate, talk about the issues those companies face. We'll be out at a lot of semiconductor activities and events and trade shows, talking to semiconductor companies. We're looking to build a semiconductor development center, which will include a focus on education, a focus on suppliers and how we can help them, and a focus on design. And so all those things are going to be part of a very aggressive and assertive economic development program for Saratoga County.
Well, you know what, Marty, we're going to have you back a lot of times.
Yeah,
I wanted to
excellent.
keep pace with you on this.
Yeah, we can talk
and
a lot.
also, we're going to invite Marty to be on Beyond the Headlines with Mike Lenz. So we have a 30-minute interview with him as well. Boy, we just skimmed the surface of this, but again, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Bringing us up to date, and we didn't even get the cheap trick.
Yes, that's right.
Little known fact that Marty sold Rick Nielsen a lawnmower. Okay.
Yes.
See, so semiconductor on one end.
We'll do the cheap trick show, right?
That's right. Marty, thank you very much for coming. I'll see you
Thanks for having me.
To see this interview, you can check our website, looktvonline.com.